Greetings and welcome to One Sparkle Love, Church, Spirituality in a Modern World. Thank you for being a part of my congregation. Now, I'm an early bird. That means that having a job, you start at 5 a.m., you wake up at 3 a.m. There's no rocket science in that. It's just called doing what you have to do in life. There are two lists in your life: have to and want to. And if you're in business, you have your own business, 90% have to, and you only get 10% what you want to do, and that's creativity. In life, 90% work, what you have to do, and 10% of what you want to do in creativity. In order to balance that out is where you must become creative in your own path. Now, I just got this camera, so I'm just trying to figure this stuff out. Now, it's little desktop tabletop one. And because it's so small, it doesn't have a tilt factor like what I like. So every paper I get in the mail, I cut it up. I take that piece of paper, fold it in half. Now you have two sections. Then you take that piece of paper, each one, fold it in half. And when you're done, you have 4 pieces of paper. Those are like sticky notes without the sticky, to write down whatever you're doing at the moment in time. So I cut them up. I even take those little squares you get from Amazon in the packages you receive. That's my note paper. So I have boxes of note paper, so I never have to spend money on paper to take notes, because a tree gave up its life for you. One moment of instant gratification so you can read that piece of paper and throw it away. Reuse it. You're recycling it, making it into your notepad. So I got a bunch of those stuck under the leg of this camera here. Now, when life gets havoc, chaos, I call it muck. So instead of throwing out the F-bomb, instead of an F, I put an M. So you could call that thing that's really making you mad, you say, "You mother mucker." Okay? And that'll give you the giggles, and it'll make light of the situation. So for me, as a very creative person, I need 90% creativity and 10% have to work. Breathing is work in my world, because after 3 different cancers, 3rd sinus cancer, ENT, ear, nose, and throat, you get radiation and chemo cancer treatments. So with the radiation, you get side effects, and so lo and behold, my esophagus is falling apart for 2 years. That's the dead tissue cells inside my throat from the radiation that I had to get out, or I would swallow. If I swallow, the doctor says that there are 250,000 people in the United States that get pneumonia. If I swallow those, I will get pneumonia. Do I really want to die after my 3rd different cancer? I mean, come on, really? So you don't swallow. So with that, you have tons of have-to-dos and very minuscule want-to-dos in life. You pick and choose your flavor. Which one do you want? So when life gets very extremely chaotic and muck, I then create paintings, books, music, to be able to stop the muck. And you switch hemispheres in the human brain. So right now, I am creating the 8 phases of the moon. So I painted the gray yesterday, and now I am painting, what is it? Espresso? Oh, espresso is the dark one, and chocolate brown is the color I'm painting right now. So when I'm painting, I am painting the 8 phases of the moon. And the 8 phases, I have a chart that I wrote down so I could be able to memorize, and I have no idea where I put the chart, so I could memorize new, full, waxing, waning, crescent and gibbons. So this will go into one of the charts that I'm making in one of the books I'm creating. I already did the Spirit Family, and that's on Amazon. So it's in the series of the children's book series, Fragmentology. So in 3D third dimension, we have 8 phases of the moon. Of course, you're going to have 8 phases of the sun. It's called hormones. Females have hormones, males have hormones, that's why we're called human. So when you are a human species, you are a bipedal molecule. A molecule changes by chemistry in hormones. No matter what species you are, everything has a hormone. This is why it is a living species. So when I say male ionic energy, I'm not talking anatomy. When I say female ionic energy, I'm not talking anatomy. I'm talking energy. And in China, they call it qi. This is energy. Studying chemical compounds and growing plants at the age of 12, I'm looking at the chemical compounds. I'm not looking at anatomy. I look from the interior to the exterior. And that's what I'm doing. The 8 phases. Now, 8 even numbers are female. Not anatomy. And odd numbers are male. Not anatomy. So when I'm doing the 8, that is 3D third dimension. In our hemisphere, in the cosmos, we have technically odd 9, 12, 15, 19 moons in our solar system. We have 19 suns in our solar system. And the fact that I am synthesia, science calls it a disability, and in the spirit realm it's called a blessing. So being born with synthesia, when I hear music I see colors and numbers. So to me it is not the exterior, it's always been the interior that I see first in a person, place, or thing. I see their energy within their anatomy. And right now I'm doing the 8. Then it goes into, like I said, 9, and it goes further, because for each hemisphere is a different dimension. So then as I see it, because it's brought to me through the spirit realm, I'm a Reverend, I'm ordained, and I am an ordained Reverend of divine energy, okay? So yeah, I have a doctor's degree in that. Anyways, moving on, because they're all just pieces of paper. I have 25 years in college, 16 certificates and diplomas, 6 college degrees, 2 doctorate degrees, and working on my 3rd doctorate degree. They're all just pieces of paper. It means absolutely nothing. What can you create with that secular government education you had received? What do you do with this? What are you creating? That is the whole point and purpose of your existence, is to find out what you're creating through wants and needs. So when life is muck, pure muck. I then switch to creativity, paint, music, books. So you're getting 3 of the human 5 senses. Human 5 senses within 3D third dimension. 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 is abundance. You have 8 phases to the moon. You have 8 phases in the human emotion and psychology until you get to the 8th level of acceptance of your muck. Comprende, mijo? Comprende, mijo? It's all by numbers, not words. Words are just flavors for numbers. That's it. Metaphors and symbologies, period. For this flavor, we have 8 phases of the moon. The moon controls water, controls your emotion. And this is why women, that time of the month, have 8 phases in her personality in every month of her existence. And women call it that monthly time of the month. That just means that you're going through the phase. When the moon changes phase, because it is the female goddess that is married to the male sun god. So you got the female goddess, moon goddess. This is not anatomy. This is energy. Learn your EMF. And I'm pretty sure you learned that in school. Snap your brain back on. Where is the information coming from that you know that exists? For me, it comes through eons in time. When I finished college, got my Ph.D. Yep, bachelor's, master's, Ph.D. Anyways, pieces of paper. I got it. I got a letter with my advisor gave me a letter and said, you have a beautiful mind, a few millennial beyond most human beings. Of course, I had to look that up. What's a millennial? Well, it's 1,000 years. Well, I got a few of them. Well, of course. Esoteric comes from eons in time. In yesteryear, at the beginning of time, in human existence. Period, and to the point, and that's the way it is. It's not some new age, where in the freak do you people come up with this crap? No, this is from your ancestors. And in African astrology, my astrology sign is the ancestor, so I'm bringing you information from many lifetimes. Numbers. Because that is the blueprint schematic in the fundamental mechanics that exist in your world as a bipedal molecule. Now, when it comes to science, first and foremost, it's beyond the human 5 senses, not the baby science invented by the American Medical Association. No, this is way beyond that, honey. This is eons in time. Now, the 8 is a number of abundance. You're going to get abundance of good, bad, and otherwise. When you do, you must know the adequacy of what it is that you need in a person, place, or thing in your existence at that moment in time. If you plan, you are prepared, and life is not chaotic. If you do not plan, you are not prepared. You get stressed out. Sickness, illness, disease, boom, you have a heart attack, boom, you're dead. That's called paranoia kills. So stop with the havoc of emotional crapola. Become emotionally mature adult that you're supposed to be and create your life through creativity. Balance your needs and wants. And so that's what I do. And they tell you when you work in an office, yeah, accounting, white collar, 13 years, and accounting, very boring. Anyways, every 2 hours you must get up from your desk. You're not glued to your desk and your computer and everything else. Get up, physically get going. You have a body you must attend to. So with that, instead of doing all that key punching, yeah, I was doing 65 words a minute, 10,000 keystrokes per minute, 10 key by touch without looking, because you're working in accounting, you got to do numbers. So yeah, you're a robot, plain and simple. So you got to stop every 2 hours. 2 is the magic number. Dualistic nature in human nature, left and right hemisphere of the human brain. Switch it up. So this way, you're getting the best of both worlds. Now, for some reason, the government came up with 15-minute break. Well, when you break it down, that's technically number 6. Number 6 is love. So that means you're showing self-care, self-love to yourself in creativity. Because you're feeding yourself. Self-esteem, self-worth, self-respect, create self-care, that's create self-love. Easy peasy, piece of cake. So when I got my Ph.D, I went to a community college, gave them my syllabus because I wanted to teach non-credit courses at the community college. Went back 2 weeks later, nicely dressed. Remember, when you work in an office, looks like you're going to a modeling festival. Yeah, I'm a retired professional model, many years. Anyways, just pieces of paper and experience. That's it. So I go back 2 weeks later, and then she tells me, we don't need self-love here. So I just took the paper and smiled. So then that told me this is obviously a perfect town in wishful thinking utopia. There's no substance abuse here. No one has any problems whatsoever. Everyone is totally happy because no one needs self-love. Wow, this lady is off her rocker. She got her brain in the garbage. That's dumber than a box of rocks. She did not comprehend what it is that I am teaching her. One, as a parent, I'm not telling you what to do. I am teaching you. I am a guide, a spiritual healer, spiritual teacher, spiritual counselor. I am spiritually guiding you into the direction from life path to soul path. And that is what teachers do on the 3D third dimension of the teacher in government secular education with a piece of paper saying you're allowed to teach, and through the spirit realm. And in the spirit realm, I have many guides that guide me. Everyone needs help, and so you must learn how to listen. You hear with human ears. You listen with your whole body of being in the 4 quadrants and personality. Easy peasy, piece of cake. So, did my 2 hours of work, took my 15-minute break, a little bit longer, you know. I'm retired now. I have to do that. More like a 30-minute break to have atrophy. Meaning that where my 3rd different cancer, sinus cancer, was eating the bone in my head because it was a massive progressive tumor from my sinus to moved into the middle of my head, eating the bone in the middle of my head. 4 years trying to find a doctor, went through 12, finally found a 13. She did a biopsy and boom, there you go. Cancer. It's eating the bone in my head. What happens is atrophy is eating a tissue particle in your body, and then when the cancer is gone, you then have a hole. It must be filled in. Well, then bacteria will start growing another life form because of moisture, H2O, you smack into anything that's dry, voila, it then begins life. So if there's no H2O, you're lucky, you're happy, no life happens. So the fact they took so long, the cancer was eating for so long, it left a big nugget hole in my head, in my brain. So in order to fill in new tissue cells, you must do something with your brain. What do? I play mahjong. You must play a game because you must get out of the have to into the want to. And that's where the games come in. And that's why it's kind of idiotic, stupid, that government secular education took away the arts in school. Children must play. That's how they learn. If you take it away, they don't want to go to school anymore because they're not having any fun. They're not robots. You cannot treat them like robots because, trust me, teenage years come around, honey, they're going to rebel so bad, you're going to wish you would have done things different. By then, it's too late. You already set the game plan in motion. Do not treat your children the way that you think they should be treated. You treat your children the way that they should be treated, the way that they need to be treated. Two different ball games. Learn the difference, and then you will create happiness instead of havoc. Double H factor. So if you don't know how to be creative, how are you going to teach that to your child? If you don't know how to love properly yourself, how are you going to teach that to your child? Pay attention. Don't see with your human eyeballs. You see with your whole body being, the four bodies of being in the four quadrants of personality. That's how it works. Baby steps. That's what life's about. What are you doing? Step 1, full moon. And keep going till you get to the new moon. And keep going. These are the changes in your emotion. Learn who you are. I've always said, the more I learn about me, the more I can help others, which in turn helps humanity. That's the whole ball game, folks. That's why you're here, and that's your purpose. Why you're here. Now you know. You get a little tidbit in the Holy Scripture. Me, myself, is creating through unispherical theorem. Yep. One of the 5 businesses I have. Yep. Copyrights and trademarks. Yep. Because for some reason, government loves paperwork. Paper pushers need a job too. Those are called white-collar workers. Make sure you have more blue-collar workers and not white-collar workers in your family. Because you're going to be calling that repairman, that technician, more than you will a lawyer or a doctor. So if you need to go to school, go become a tradesman. After 5 years of doing the job, you then are a journeyman in whatever blue-collar job you have. After 5 years, it's no longer a job, it's a career. So, by all that, those are all have-tos. Make sure you do 50% want-tos. And that's where we paint the 8 phases of the moon. Isn't life grand? You have to find the harsh smiles and belly laughs. Well, I may like this camera. I may not. It just depends. I'm doing 20 projects at one time, so 20 in every single day. I'm very busy. So if you take the dualistic nature, 2 times what equals 20. That's how much I'm doing, because I will do more in one lifetime than most people do in 10. It's all a mathematical equation. To the point, period, and that's the way it is. And life is love, love is life. Blessing from Reverend Dr. Juanita Lewis, D.Div, Ph.D. 2 doctorate degrees. I'm working on my 3rd doctorate degree. And it's a toss-up between 2. One is called psychology, because I want to get a degree in parapsychology, and the other, I've been studying that for 30 years. The other is TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. Now that relates more to chemicals. So it just depends. Do I want soft science or hard science? And thank you for your support.